Dear grade 12 students, welcome to a new English language session which will be devoted to consolidating the grammar points of units 5 and 6. Today's lesson has 3 learning objectives. First, consolidate changing from direct to indirect speech. 2, consolidate using modal verbs to respond to situations. And number 3, consolidate determining the correct verb form. So let's get started with our first grammar point, which is reported speech. When we report the words of other people, we need to make 3 necessary changes. The first change is pronoun change. As you see in the example below, the pronoun I changes into the pronoun he. The second change is changing some time expressions. For example, tomorrow in the direct speech here changes to the next day in the indirect or reported speech. Now, here is a list of the other time expressions. Please pause the video and read through the list. The third change you need to make when you report is tense change. And here is a chart which shows you how you change tenses. The chart is found in your student's book on page GR14 at the end of the book. Please pause the video and examine the chart. Now let's do some practice. Here is a multiple choice question. Please pause the video, read the question, and select the correct option. Very good. So, what is the correct reported form of the statement in this question? Excellent, the last option. Now, pause the video and report the following statements. And don't forget to make the necessary changes. Good. First, what are you going to change? Excellent. The pronoun I, the tense of the verb, and the time expression tomorrow. Very good. So the reported sentence will be: the man said that I changes into he, will not attend changes to would not attend, the seminar, no change, and the time expression tomorrow changes to the next day. Very good. Now we will see reporting questions. We will start with yes/no questions. And the first example here, as you can see, it starts with the verb to be are. Now, how are we going to report this? Good. The man asked Brian. Then we use if. Animals in the wild were. You see that the verb to be here, we have changed the tense and the place of verb to be. We place it after the subject. And endangered, no change. Very good. Now let's see the second example, which starts with an auxiliary verb to do. How we are going to report this question? Good. Yes, the teacher asked Tom. If also, like the previous example, then your father will change into his father. The verb work will remain in its place, but it's going to change into the past. And in a hospital, no change. Very good. And what happens to the auxiliary verb? Yes, it is deleted. Now the WH questions. And here is the first example. How are you going to report this question? Very good. Mike asked his friend which story, no change here. Then his sister instead of your sister, and had read instead of has read. Excellent. The second example, again, how are you going to report this question? Very good. Fred asked the ground hostess when the flight to Rome, and here the verb depart becomes deported and remains in its place. Now, what happened to the auxiliary verb does? Very good. Deleted. Now, let's practice reporting questions. Here is your first question. It's a WH question. So please pause the video and report this question. Very good. Now, here is the answer. Remember to cross out the auxiliary verb and change the verb stop into the past simple. Very good. The second example is a yes/no question. Please pause the video and report this question. Very good. The answer, so you use if and the verb to be is changes into was, and we place it after the train station and not before it. Very good. Now we come to using special reporting verbs to report commands, requests, and suggestions. These verbs are followed by the ing form or the infinitive form. Now here is a list of some special reporting verbs. Please pause the video and read through the list. Very good. Now let's report this sentence using the verb agree. Good. He agreed then to drive me home, and you see that he agreed, we use the infinitive form. Now please pause the video here and classify these verbs in the following chart. Very good. Now, which verbs require the infinitive form? Very good. Advise, offer, promise, agree, refuse, invite, order, and remind. And of course, the remaining verbs require the ing form. Very good. Now, please pause the video here and report sentence A and B using the reporting verbs between brackets. Very good. For sentence A, of course, we have used to tell because the verb promise requires the infinitive. And for sentence B, you have written going because the verb suggest requires the ing form. Very good. The second grammar point is modal verbs. But first, let's match these modal verbs to their functions. So please pause the video here and do the matching. Very good. Must, we use it for obligation and duty. For have to, necessity. Not have to, for absence of necessity. For can't and mustn't, we use it for prohibition. As for should and ought to, we use it for advice. And of course, for can, may, might and could, we use for possibility. Excellent. Now, pause the video and read sentence A and B and rewrite them using the modal verbs between brackets. Excellent. Now, for sentence A, good, I have to finish the report tomorrow. As for sentence B, very good, you should take the lost boy to the police station. Great. Now we come to the last grammar point of this grammar consolidation, which is verb forms. We have 3 verb forms in English: the bare infinitive, the to infinitive, and the ing form. Let's study the following example. The verb paint will take which of the 3 forms above? Excellent, the ing form. You will find more details about the verb forms in your student's book in the grammar reference, page GR 18 and 19. Now, pause the video here and write the bracketed verbs of sentences A, B, and C in the correct form. Very good. For sentence A, which form of the verb have you chosen? Very good, the ing form. As for sentence B, very good, the to infinitive form. And for the last sentence, the bare infinitive form. Excellent. This is the end of this lesson. Thank you very much for watching. And remember to do the homework on Microsoft Teams within 24 hours.